Hello and welcome to another captaincy video from Fantasy Football Scouts. We are coming to the end of an international break, but with COVID and injuries, we are starting to wonder whether there are any candidates for the captaincy this week. Given the fixtures, it could be a good week to be a little different with the armband anyway. Joining me to consider the options for Game Week 9 is David. David, how are you? And what's the latest with those flags?
We're very much constrained by the fact that we're recording this on Tuesday, and it's ahead of the press conferences. So who knows, really, like what the situation is going to be when we actually get to be making those decisions on Friday. It's been a pretty crazy international break. I feel like the situation's changed every day. It's nice not to be making big decisions during the international break. It's handy to just have a little bit of time just to kind of like collect ourselves, look back on some of the other matches. And normally in an international break, like nothing really happens. But in this one, the situation has just basically been changing every day, bearing in mind who has been coming in and out of teams. You know, Salah has obviously tested positive for coronavirus. I think he's tested positive in 2 tests. But that doesn't mean that he's necessarily out of Game Week 9, because we're already hearing that he's going to be taking another test, I think, on Thursday.
Yes.
And it's possible that that might be negative. We'll have to see. I mean, I don't really know, but if it is negative, he can play in Game Week 9. So lots of people may have
each country, each FA, they've all got their different rules. We can't keep up to date with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, people may have even sold him, and then he might start against Leicester, and then bang. So I mean, there's uncertainty there. Obviously, Alexander-Arnold's also got a calf injury that's left over from before the international break, and obviously meant he missed England duty. Robertson picked up a hamstring injury playing for Scotland. Callum Wilson obviously had a hamstring injury as well before the international break. Marcus Rashford has obviously been keeping very busy, but in terms of his fitness, you know, has that shoulder problem. Danny Ings, we knew already that he's out for a fair period as well. It's a weird game week where actually these flags possibly even make some of the decisions for us. And then the other thing is that Matt Dougherty obviously has tested positive for a coronavirus, so that means that Spurs are probably going to have to play Aurier against Man City. So does that boost the potential of, say, a Sterling or a De Bruyne, because Spurs' defence won't be quite as defensively solid? So there's so many things up in the air. This feels like, I think, the hardest captaincy decision of the whole season because of all these things. So yeah, we're in for quite a tricky video today, I'd say.
Yeah, so usually we just say, Salah, goodbye. Or we say, whatever, Fernandez. If Fernandez is away, we say him, goodbye. Here there's a lot of options. And there's a guy we don't usually start with. He gets included in these videos, but he's my current bus captain. It's not Richarlison, it's Calvert-Lewin. Although Richarlison is a good bet this week. He's back from suspension. Calvert-Lewin, my current bus team captain. Richarlison is back from suspension. Rodriguez should be available. They could be options too. They're against Fulham. I think this looks like a classic player in form, player who could get better because Richarlison is back, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Plus, they're against Fulham, who are destined to go back to the Championship. So, what do you think? I mean, am I a bit off the wall going for Calvert-Lewin?
No, I don't think so. I think, with it being Fulham, I think we've definitely got to consider them. And as we've already said, this is the week where let's be pragmatic, right? Let's not just kind of like, stick it on Salah or a big name just for the sake of it. I think this is the week where we can afford to look at other options. And I think if we're thinking about players who could hurt us potentially, Calvert-Lewin is actually someone I've actually not owned all season. I'm not too worse for wear on that. I had Wilson, who actually I think at this point has more points than him, or very similar, for an extra million. So, but either way, I know what it's like to not own Calvert-Lewin, and it is frustrating when he scores, because it is going to always, when you're watching a live rank, hurt you. So if we think that Calvert-Lewin maybe is going to be someone that someone turns to, then actually captaining potentially possibly your most highly owned player is not exactly the worst decision in the world to go with. And as you say, when it's Fulham, you can be pretty confident that you're going to get something. Obviously, we all know that Fulham's defence isn't very good. In terms of some specifics on that, in the last 4 matches, their expected goals conceded is 6.01, which is the 4th worst in the league. They've only actually conceded 4 goals, which means they're overperforming against that XGC. So they should have conceded 2 more goals than they did. And then if we go into the specifics of where these chances are getting conceded for Fulham, in that period, they conceded 14 headed attempts. which is actually the joint most in the league. So when you consider what Calvert-Lewin is best at, which is his aerial presence, I mean, I can't really think of too many people who right now in the form they're in can get on the end of a cross and nod it in the back of the net better than Calvert-Lewin. It does seem like quite a nice matchup. So, sometimes people can be scared of going for like a so-called obvious captaincy, but there's lots of kind of little bits just under the surface on this one that cement it as quite a good choice. Rodriguez, you obviously mentioned as well. The fact that they're conceding these headed attempts arguably makes him a better option too, because he's taking the corners, and we've seen Keane and Mina and Holgate all offer plenty of threat from set pieces in the last couple of years. So if you don't have Cavalier and you do have Rodriguez, I think he's still a decent bet for this exact same reason, because he probably isn't going to be. He's not going to be the guy heading the ball in the net, but he's certainly going to be the guy most likely for putting the ball into the box for someone else to head it into the net. So yeah, two great options there.
Yeah, I mean, some of those, one of those stats you mentioned there about Fulham, their expected goals conceded, as you said, 6.01 is the fourth worst as well. Everton is actually the worst at the moment over the last 4 game weeks, but that's just an aside. I think with a lot of their troops back and great fixtures coming up, I think that may change. But as you pointed out there, Fulham have conceded 4 goals, but their big chances conceded is 8. So that indicates they've been slightly fortunate just to concede 4 there. As you said, Calvert-Lewin, he's been doing well, even though Everton haven't been doing well in recent weeks. And one of the things I was looking at was with or without Richarlison. So I went into the members area of Fantasy Football Scout, had a look at the comparison tool, and I compared game weeks 1 to 5, where largely you're talking Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Rodriguez, usual Everton fare, and then I compared it with game week 6 to 8, where Richarlison was suspended, and the expected goals on average went down. This is for Calvert-Lewin. His expected goals per match went down from 0.9, so practically a goal a game, to 0.3, to struggling to get some kind of return. Bonus point system, they were slashed in half. No, more than half. 35 he was getting on average, down to 15. That obviously shows about the goals scored as well. And his goal attempts was cut from 4 a match down to 2. So you can see the influence. Well, this is me speculating. Richarlison is an influence there. I just think having someone that attack minded, who is just really not just helping that defence, the attack, he is part of that. He's an integral part of that. Take him out. Calvert-Lewin will do okay, but not great. Bung him back in. I think Calvert-Lewin is going to prosper, and he's got the fixture to do it. Big chances, by the way, went down from 1.6 a match for Calvert-Lewin down to 0.3. I could not believe some of these stats here. In short, I just think, Calvert-Lewin needs Richarlison to really shine. Fulham have conceded 11 big chances in their last 4 home matches, that is. They're there for the take. I mean, this is, for me, a classic matchup. And what you were saying there about headed goal attempts as well. I haven't been persuaded elsewhere, but I don't have this guy, but I could do, if I wanted. I could get him in. Jack Grealish could be arguably the best captaincy option this week. But who knows, in current form? I mean, he's like an almost messiah figure for England. Flicks a ball with his back heel, and suddenly he's like Pele, and all the football gods rolled into one. But nevertheless, he is good, and he is against Brighton. Brighton, good stats, terrible defence. No matter how good the defence stats look, they will concede. And I say that as a Brighton fan. I'll just say that as an FPL manager as well. Jack Grealish, what do you reckon, captain?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the England conversation, I think I thought for a fair while that he's the kind of player that England have got to build their team around, to be honest, because we don't have anyone like him, and that's great for FPL as well, because he's a guy that's just a hub of everything, and that's what this Aston Villa team is designed to do. Is designed to get the best out of Jack Grealish, and that's exactly what it's doing right now. He's playing playing a bit like a premium asset. Like, I mean, I'm sure he will have a patch of form where it kind of just dries up a little bit, because all players do. But when I say he's playing like a premium, he's acting like one of those midfield players you can trust to just get points from anywhere, because we know he can score goals, we know he can create chances, and obviously as a midfielder in a team that's keeping clean sheets at a decent rate of knots, then there's the extra clean sheet point there as well. So there's just so many different avenues for this guy to score points. and the underlying stats are backing it up quite nicely. Like he's not overperforming them, I don't think. In the last 4 matches, he's created 4 big chances, which is the best in the league. So the chances that he creates are great, and he's got around him players who are also in form. So Watkins is looking good, Barkley is as well, McGinn. There's a number of people that he can create chances for. He's carving out great chances for them, and they're sticking them away. So assist potential is very high. And then in terms of his own goal threat stats himself, he's had 3 big chances in the last 4, which is basically the joint, I think, it's a joint third. There's about 8 players who are above him. There's a couple on 4 big chances. There's a couple on 7. But that's still pretty good from a guy that's also a creator as well. And his accuracy about 30%. It's a little bit below what you'd expect from a more ruthless goal scorer, but it's still good enough. He ticks enough of these boxes all together combined to make him look like a great option. And also he has a bit of a hoodwink over Brighton as well, because he's scored in every Premier League match he's played against them in last season anyway. So he scored in both games, home and away.
Scored 2 games.
So he's got
yeah,
it's 2 games. It's not a huge sample size, but as you've already mentioned, Brighton aren't exactly a team that you would trust to keep clean sheets right now, even if the stats are good. He actually right now is my vice captain, because he just seems like the guy's going to pick points up wherever you need them, even if you're not expecting them. Like, I mean, I had him for the Arsenal game after we'd done really well at home against, I think, Southampton, thinking I'm probably not going to get a great deal here because Arsenal's defence has been statistically good, just like Brighton's has been, and he still picked up an assist, and if VAR was a little kinder, he'd have a goal and assist. So there seems to be no stopping him right now. And if we're talking about ownership again, his ownership in the top 10k is going up and up and up every week. I think he's the 4th most owned player in the top 10k, behind Son, Kane, and Salah. So again, if we're worried about effective ownership this week, in a week where he could be popular because the usual candidates aren't really on the table for the captaincy, he could be a bit of a shield captain as well. So lots of good things about Grealish, in my opinion.
I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if Grealish ends this game week without some kind of attacking returns. But I don't know whether it's going to be a haul or not. But I can definitely see some kind of attacking return. So I think if you just want a safe bet with a captaincy, could be famous last words. But I think Grealish is going to get you some points there. He won't blank.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing that's Brighton's defensive stats are really good though. But they are conceding. And what's happening there? So I put some stats up on here with the image of Jack Grealish as well to see what he's up against. They're actually, in terms of expected goals conceded over the last 4 game weeks, they're the 3rd best defence. It's only Manchester United, Man City are better than them in terms of expected goals conceded. They've conceded just 4 goals in the last 4 game weeks. They've conceded 4 big chances as well. So almost pretty much any big chance they face, that's it, it's a goal.
Yeah. Well, I think
but they're not
when
conceding that many big chances. So
yeah, well, it's a weird thing. I think this is one of those key moments where actually combining the stats with maybe just the eye test of watching Brighton is maybe what gives us the answer here, because they look like a team. They're a team that loves to be in possession. They offer plenty of threat going forward with the wing backs that bomb forward, because obviously they play with the back 3. So it means that when you're a team that has a lot of possession, you don't usually concede a huge number of chances. We've seen this with Man City before, where when they weren't that defensively solid, they were still having good stats because they dominated the ball, but they're just really, really, really bad at defending the counter attack, and that seems to be what is the massive problem with Brighton. Because when the wing backs go forward, like I really love what Lamptey adds going forward, but he doesn't half leave Brighton exposed at the back when he loses the ball high up the pitch. So playing against, and I think Aston Villa are a great counter attacking team. The drive that they have in midfield is one of the best, I think, midfield trios in the league for just sheer sort of power and determination to just pick that ball up and move it from defence to attack in a few seconds with Grealish, Barkley and McGinn. Those 3 options, they must be so frightening to defend against, even if you're good at defending the counter-attack. And considering that Brighton are rubbish at defending the counter-attack, it seems that little match-up there, that should mean that Villa gets something from this game. Offensively.
There's 2 ways of dealing with Jack Grealish. One is just stop and stare and marvel, like Arsenal did last time out, or like they did in England's last international, just hack him to bits.
Yeah, just foul him.
The only way to stop him is just attack him, or just look at him.
Yeah, ignore the ball and just go for the man. That's all you can do with Jack Grealish.
Brighton is fascinating with this. As you said, the stats are clear. They are a good defence, but they are also a shonky defence at the same time. They are Schrodinger's good defence. Neither good nor bad. I don't know what to make of this. I think Grealish will get you returns there. I'm tempted to bring him in myself, but I do have other players I'm thinking of as well. Let's move on. Now, Chelsea have a good fixture, we think, against Newcastle. This could be another opportunity to go for a Chelsea asset. So I've got some stats up on the screen there of their assets in terms of expected goal involvement. So we're looking at the last 4 matches, expected goal involvement. You've got Werner at the top there, so he's the guy coming in off the left. He's been exposing teams that way, doing well, expecting goal involvement of 2.65. But then Ziyech, with his 8 chances created, a goal, expected goal involvement half of Werner, but nevertheless the eye test says he's the guy who's going to create something. And if you're going to get some assists in this game, it's going to be him. If you're going to get the goals, he could score as well. Could be a mega haul. I think he got 11 points last time out. This could be a good week go for a Chelsea asset, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, so my bus captain is actually Werner right now. I really like how much he's kind of spooling up and ready to kind of hit top form. I'd argue he's kind of already there in terms of reliability for fantasy managers. Like he was a massive issue for us, wasn't he? In sort of like game weeks 2 and 3, when wasn't really getting on the ball, wasn't really he wasn't finding the space to get on the ball, and Ziyech coming into the team has solved that problem massively, because that's why they signed him, wasn't it? Chelsea, like, they couldn't really break down deep blocks. Now they can. I think best highlighted by the way they just completely dismantled Burnley, who are one of the most experienced deep blocks in the Premier League. So this Chelsea team is now ready to be trusted, I think, when they have a good fixture. I think Newcastle is a good fixture. They're usually a little bit more solid at home, but I still think that Chelsea can get through them. They have conceded, so to start with Ziyech, they've conceded, I think, the third most or the second most number of chances from set plays this season, have Newcastle. So obviously that's good for Ziyech. Werner, I think, is slightly... With him, it's less about the fixture and more about the form of the player. In the last 4 matches, he's got the third best XG non-penalty in the Premier League, behind only Vardy and Bamford. So, he really is getting to that point where he is behaving like a premium in terms of his underlying stats. And that's, as I said, that's XG non-penalty. He is now also on penalties. So he is starting to become, I think, the guy that you can trust with the armband. Yeah. And he was my gut reaction when I made just put my bus team together. I haven't made any transfers yet, and I don't own a Man United player, so it could change. But when I took that first look at my team, Werner is starting to become that guy that I feel like I can trust for a game like this.
Yeah, I was looking at the big chances conceded last 4 home matches, and Newcastle are doing pretty well there. But as you said, the way that Chelsea dealt with Burnley, who, these are different sides, but there are similarities in terms of the defence there. So in terms of big chances conceded at home, in fact, Brighton are the best. Then you got West Ham, Tottenham, Southampton, then Burnley that you mentioned there, and Chelsea managed to handle them quite well, and then Newcastle, and Newcastle in a block of conceding 5 big chances over the last 4 home matches, alongside Wolves and Liverpool as well. So once again, it's depending on your attitude to stats and which stats you want. So if you are pro Chelsea and pro captaining one of their players, you're going to look at those stats and then look at Burnley and Newcastle and think, well, Chelsea can handle that. Or if you haven't got their stats, you can look at that and go, oh, Newcastle defence at home is quite good. So it depends on your attitude and which stats you want to use. But there are many ways of looking at that. But yeah, I think... Personally, I think Werner is a great option, especially with penalties. It's a guy on penalties, and in this season, you got penalties, you got a chance of getting some returns, even if Chelsea can't quite do it. And Ziyech, he's the eye test guy at the moment. Now, let's move on to Manchester United against West Brom. On paper, this looks amazing, but there is a difference between Manchester United at home, and particularly Fernandez and Manchester United away. So I am still considering getting Fernandez in, but I don't think I'll be captaining him. I still don't think he's as good an option as Calvert-Lewin. So, and here's why. Put these are just the normal stats. These aren't from Fantasy Football Scout members area. These are just the stats that anyone can get from the FPL website. And they just show, these are Fernandez's game week history so far. Brighton away, 12 points. Newcastle away, 11 points. Everton away, 17 points. Mega hauls here. And then Crystal Palace home, 2. Tottenham at home in that 6-1 drubbing. He managed to get 6 points, but he only lasted 45 minutes. Chelsea at home, 3 points. Arsenal at home, 2 points. Once again, you can look at this in two ways. That's tougher opposition at home than away. But then last season, after lockdown, Fernandez was doing much better away. And I've heard, I mean, I need to check this out, but I've heard that when he was in Portugal as well, the same thing happened. I don't know, does he hate playing at home? I don't know. Anyway, Fernandez, he looks a good option. Rashford, if he's fit, looks a good option. Manchester United at home to West Brom. Seems good. I mean, what would you say to people who are thinking of captaining one of them?
Yeah, well, I think my answer to that starts with looking at what everyone else is thinking, because I think you always have to be just aware of that when you're making these decisions. If you want to protect yourself against big red arrows, or set yourself up for a big green one. Fernandez currently right now is comfortably the poll leader on Fantasy Football Scout for the best captain this week, according to the voters. He's got 36.3%. Second place is Greenish with 11.8%. So that's how the land lies at the moment, which may play a big role in the decisions that people make. Now, what we always say about these decisions is that we should always test the community's kind of view against, some numbers, which is really the basis of this video. So then, yeah, for me, I think there is enough reason for me to sort of look at that and be like, do you know what, I can ride not having Fernandez this week, even if he's going to be the most captain, because I do have that doubt. When we look at what he did last season, so I'm just including all home matches, just all matches he played last season, which includes matches before lockdown. He scored 117 points last year, and only 46 of those came at Old Trafford. So, because we always get people in the comment section on these videos going, oh, you can't look at home and away yet because they've only played these teams and that teams and whatever. But it's an ongoing issue because regardless of opposition last season, only 39% of his points came at home, even though he's the penalty taker, which is so strange. Which is not to say that he's a bad option at home. It just means if you're looking for that explosive double-digit haul, you are less likely to see it at Old Trafford than you are somewhere else. And then if I was given a free hit this week and I had to pick one Man United player to go for this game, and I knew he was going to play, I actually still think Rashford is better than Fernandez at home. So another comparison I did was just looking at all home appearances last season, Rashford versus Fernandez. Now, get ready for this. Rashford was ahead of Fernandez per game for XG non-penalty, penalty box touches, shots in the box, shots on target, big chances, accuracy, goal conversion rate, and big chances created. Rashford was better than Fernandez per game. So that's when you just forget how many total appearances, just per 90 basically. Rashford was better than Fernandez. Obviously Fernandez is the penalty taker, which maybe perhaps outweighs some of that. But if Rashford is fit and is going to play, and you kind of need to sign a Man United player because you want someone for this game, and you can't reach Fernandez, get Rashford, because honestly, if he starts and he plays, I think he scores more points at home than Fernandez does. So that's my thoughts on the Man United players. On West Brom themselves, as you say, on paper it's a nice fixture. We've been talking about West Brom defence as a bit of a, I still don't know really where I settle with that. I still don't know what my opinion is. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about them having made some improvements, and then they lost to Fulham and were rubbish. So we think, right, Spurs are going to smash them to pieces, and they didn't. They probably should have done. And obviously, in the last 4 matches, their XGC is sort of about mid-table at this point. It's not whipping boy status. What is worth saying is, I still think United can score here. Whether or not they can completely dismantle them is another story. But if we look at the contribution that Spurs made to West Brom's XGC over the last 4, they account for 40% of it, basically. Okay. So the 3 matches where West Brom didn't concede too many chances, they were playing a favourable team. And the second they came up against a more difficult team, the XGC shot up again. So, and United are perfectly capable of doing that, even if it's at home. So, I don't think it's as it's not like a smash. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a thrashing, but I still think United can win it maybe 2-0.
Yeah.
So there's certainly enough reason to look at this game. And I think, but with Fernandez, is he explosive? No, I don't think so necessarily. Always at home. If Rashford's available, I think he's the better option. But of course, who knows? We'll refer back to what we said at the top of the video. Who knows who's going to start and play this game week?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at West Brom's last 4 away matches, and yeah, their expected goals conceded is pretty awful actually. I mean, it's 7, and they've conceded 8 big chances over that time as well, away from home. So I think they are there for the taking. I think they'll concede, but it's just a case of how many. And we, got those stats there, black and white, proof there that that Fernandez is a home and away thing. However, if you can stretch to get Fernandez over Rashford, I would recommend it because it's a 38 game week season. So less for the captaincy, maybe something we'll talk about on the Scoutcast later. But looking at Manchester United's fixtures, yes, West Brom at home, but then Southampton away. We've all seen what happens with Southampton when they play at home. West Ham away, then they got City. That's tough to call. Who knows what's going to happen in the derby, and then Sheffield United away. So they've got 3 pretty reasonable away fixtures within the next 4 or 5 matches. So I think long term, this period is Fernandez time. But this particular match, I hear what you're saying there. If you're on a free hit or you're wild carding, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I think
there's some people that are like,
if you're targeting this match, Rashford, you're right. Is the one.
Yeah, there's a fair number of people playing the free hit because of how many injuries there are, and also I think there's some people that want a wild card but don't want to do it the week after an international break because you like to wild card with certainty, right? Like treating this as a 1 week only.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people doing that. So yeah, it's a good distinction to make about the long term and short term options between those two guys.
Okay, so usually we mention a whole bunch of other players ahead, but we haven't. We've talked about Greenish, we talked about Calvert-Lewin as well. We're talking about Ziyech as well. These are not usually the top billing status on these videos because there's some tough to call matches and there's injuries and COVID to contend with. So Spurs against Man City, I think this is potentially full of goals. It's potentially 0-0. Who knows? And that's what. And when as soon as I think who knows, I don't want to put the captaincy there. KDB, Kane, Sterling. So I mean, any of them could haul. Any of them could get nothing. Lots of talents. I mean, it's just too hard to call, isn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think when you consider that we've got some really nice matchups with form players elsewhere, who cares what the prices of those players are? Like, it doesn't matter that Calvert-Lewin and Grealish are cheaper than these guys. They got form, they got a fixture, so we're going to be much more likely to captain them than one of these guys.
Another one, Liverpool against Leicester. Liverpool have just got no defence left. I don't know who they're going to play in defence. Meanwhile, Jamie Vardy is nicely rested. He's still got niggling injuries all the time, but he still plays through them, and he just keeps racking up the points. Also, he is a very shrewd investment. Have a look at the fixtures for Leicester coming up. Once again, long term, something perhaps for the Scoutcast. But looking at this match as well, I can see Jamie Vardy scoring against. So
I think he usually does. He has a really I can't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like Jamie Vardy scoring against Liverpool is a very iconic combination of events. So yeah.
Once again, I think Vardy owners could be happy here. Salah owners, we don't know. We don't know whether he's going to play. Mane, Mane's Mane. I mean, they're all good options, but it's tough to call. Leicester. I mean, we saw what they did to City, and then we've seen them also not perform so well. So I'm not quite sure what's going to turn up there. So I don't think you'd be wrong to captain Vardy or Mane. Any others? I mean, I've noted down Antonio possibly being back if he is against Sheffield United. He on paper looks like a good option.
Yeah, Sheffield United's defence is increasingly... people, I think, will shy away from describing them as whipping boys because they remember how good they were last year, but they are increasingly becoming whipping boys. In the last 4 matches, 7.64 is their expected goal conceded, which is the second worst in the league, and they're not over or underperforming against it. The delta is plus 0.36. They've conceded 8 goals. So XGC is bad, goals conceded is bad.
Yeah.
They're just going to concede goals, and West Ham were a little laboured against Fulham. But if they've got Antonio back, then I think they look a much better team. So I would suggest any number of the attacking players in your team. If you've got a Bowen or a Fornals or an Antonio, maybe even a Cresswell, if we're going to stretch to the real bottom of the barrel, because I can't. West Ham's defence is improving as well, and Sheffield United are not exactly the most threatening of teams. So, yeah, if you're looking for a ridiculously differential option, then West Ham's hardly a bad place to look, considering that Sheffield United, I think, I'm going to say it now, they're whipping boys now. The dream is over.
I've got the stats up on the screen. They are. The XG conceded is so high. Big chance to concede 13. Ridiculous. This is the last 4 game weeks. So the other match I've noted down is Leeds against Arsenal. I don't know what's going to happen with Leeds any week, which is why they're everyone's best favourite second team. But yeah, potentially could do well. I'll keep these stats up on the screen because who is top of big chances over the last 4 game weeks is Bamford. So there we go. I mean, it could be. I mean, if you're a Leeds fan, just captain Bamford. But yeah, I'm not sure about this one though. I don't know which Arsenal defence is going to turn up either. The one that just looks at Bamford admiringly, or the one that hacks him down.
Yeah, it's tricky, and I think it's a bit weird. His home games are a bit weird for him. I think something like 62% of his points this season. It may even have gone up because I think that's as of before the Palace game. I think so many of his points this season have come away from home, and he has played relatively favourable fixtures at home as well, and hasn't delivered. He still tries though. Like it's not that he's not. It's no like a try. And against it's not that he completely goes missing in these home matches. Like the Leicester game, he could have had 2 goals, but and just his first touch just kind of let him down. But yeah, I mean, certainly right now he looks good. I mean, I'm always a big fan of just going and looking at if I want to predict who's going to score, let's go last 4 matches. Who's got the most shots in the box, big chances, shots on target? A guy shooting often, shooting high quality, and getting the shots on target when he's doing so. Bamford is top of all 3 of those things in the whole Premier League. 16 shots in the box, that's at least 5 more than the second best, which is Salah on 11. 7 big chances, which is level with Vardy, and at least 3 more than the second best behind those 2 joint first in Salah. And 8 shots on target, which is again the top of the league. So he's a form player. I wouldn't be shocked if the form player carries on doing well against a team that conceded 3 goals to Aston Villa. But as you say, that Arsenal team is also capable of shutting up shop against anyone. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah.
Hopefully we've given everyone a bit of thought there for the captaincy. It's a bit of a difficult week, but a week to be a little different, I think. As you can see, we've got the members' benefits up on the screen here, and loads of those stats, and those are the tools that we've been using. The comparison tool is one I've particularly been using for those home and away differences. But yeah, big chances, all of those kinds of things, and looking at who the latest whipping boys, all of those stats being from the members area. So lots of offers there. Go and have a look on site. There, lots to get into there. But in the meantime, David, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck with your differential captaincy decision.
Thanks, and the same to you as well, Joe.